right, welcome everybody to what is the premier podcast for the Nevada State Trappers Association. This is what we hope to be a monthly podcast. Um, see how long it lasts, see how long it goes, see what we can do with it. Hopefully, good things. I was listening. Well, actually, I was able to participate in the Oregon Trappers Association podcast last month, which was pretty cool and gave me the idea that I thought it would be good for Nevada to have something similar. That way we can talk about current events, future plans, legislation. Who knows? Topics are innumerable, and we'll sort them out as we go through, but should be a lot of fun. Today with me, I got Neil Cheney, who is the president of the Nevada Trappers Association. Welcome, Neil. I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for getting this going.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Been looking forward to this. I have to apologize to the audience for the quality. I'm still sorting some things out, still figuring some things out. But hopefully this comes across well. I'm looking forward to getting this thing posted and getting some feedback. So to start this off, I'm curious. How did you get into trapping yourself?
My family's trapped. I mean, my dad's dad and my mom's dad both trapped through. I mean, my mom's dad, he holds a claim that he's probably longest living guy in Nevada that's held a trapping license because they don't even have records back to when he was first having his license. He's had one every year since he was 12, except for the 3 years he was in the Army. So
I think I think he was at the rendezvous in the Ruby Mountains a couple
yes,
years ago, wasn't
yep, he was.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. I didn't make that
he's a
connection.
good guy. My other grandpa on my dad's side, he passed away in 2016. But I mean, since I was like probably 6 or 7, I remember going out on the trap line with him, stomping through the snow. Um, just catching animals. He did it. He did it to add extra income for their family through the winters. And
No,
I,
back in
as
the
long
day
as
when you might actually make a living off this thing, huh?
yeah, no kidding. I wish we could do that nowadays as easy as they did then. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think my dad trapped in mostly southeastern Oregon, and he also trapped in Nevada. And his trapper's number when he was trapping in Nevada was 7.
Mm-hmm.
He's been around as well, a while as well. I wonder if my dad and your dad ever crossed paths.
They
Who
may
knows?
have. They may have.
Um, what do you primarily focus on? Coyotes, bobcats?
Me, I like bobcats. I got a full-time job and kids, and it takes a lot of time and effort to put up fur. I can do a bobcat pretty quick and easy. They're a lot cleaner. For me, they're a lot less work. I'm not as good with the other animals, and yeah, it's just bobcat's probably my favorite animal out there, and I love being around them. I love even when someone else gets one, I love going and looking at it in their truck, and it never gets old. I could look at 100 of them a year, and it don't matter. Everyone's the coolest one.
Man, I tell you, I wish like when we hit those rendezvous and people are talking about catching 100 cats a year. That's crazy. I mean, I've never even come close to 100 cats a year. I'll get 3 or 4 a year maybe.
I'm not a. I don't claim to be a very good cat trapper. I think the most I've ever got when I was laid off for a winter. I can't even remember the exact number. It was like between 25 and 30 with my uncle. And but I've been putting up furs for people in Lincoln County down here where I live, and I've averaged 100 cats a year for 5 years, and that is way too much work. I got a brand new baby now. I'm done. I'm done putting up cats for people. Everyone's not. There's a lot of people not very happy with me down here, but
Did you take a percentage off the top of the sale for putting them up?
I just charged them a flat rate, and it wasn't enough. Everyone got a really good deal.
That's the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand is you put in a lot of time putting those traps out there and checking those traps, but most of my time, honestly, is probably in the shed putting up fur. It
Mm-hmm.
just takes time, and I'm
It
not
does.
that good at putting up fur, to be honest with you.
It is. It takes time, and when you were doing it like I did, it was miserable by the end of the year. I work a 4-10 work week. I'd spend my 3 days off from mid January until the Fallon Fur Sale, about 13, 14 hours a day, just doing bobcats for people.
Good Lord.
It makes you go crazy.
Wow. That's crazy. Like, now, for me, coyotes are my passion. I mean, don't get me wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
love catching cats. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing like a good payday. But there's something about something about coyotes. Cats are dumb. I mean, quite honestly. And I say that, if I say that, I really should catch a lot more, but I don't. So I don't know what this says about me. But coyotes are just coyotes are a whole different breed. I mean, don't
Mm-hmm.
get me wrong. The young ones are easy to catch, but you get an old coyote with a little bit of experience, and maybe a little bit of experience with a trap or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that thing is hard,
That's what
hard.
I've always said. Coyotes are hard to catch, but there's more of them out there. Bobcats, if you can find them, they're a lot easier to catch than a coyote for sure.
I'm curious because, to be honest with you, when I'm trapping, most of what I trap, and I really wish someday that I've got the time to legitimately trap the way I would love to trap, which is to dedicate good time to it, and do some long lining.
Mm-hmm.
I think to be successful, you really got to do a lot of scouting. And to me, where I put my traps is more out of opportunity and what I can swing. Because with the 96-hour trap check, I check my traps um, Wednesday or Thursday afternoons, and then once on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is kind of just opportunity. But I'd love to spend one winter legitimately putting the time to scout ahead of time and putting the time to put in the miles and the gas to put out 50 to 75 traps over a long distance.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I said earlier, I stopped doing putting up for other people so I could have more time to go out and set a few traps myself. And because when it got busy, I'd only be able to trap a couple weeks, and then I would be swarmed with other people's animals. Um, I just I'm the same way. I'd like to spend more time out there doing that because that's the fun part. Putting up the fur is the work. That's the part that sucks. And um, when you're good at it and you've got a system, it can go pretty quick and it can be enjoyable. But man, I got to put on a book, an audio book or something, and sit there and just zone out so I can get stuff done. I would much rather be putting in that time on my own animal than someone else's. So um, yeah, putting trapping anything. I'd like to. Where I live, there's not much opportunity for water trapping. I'd love to go do some of that, even catch some muskrat stuff that that ain't really probably isn't worth a lot, but just to have the experience. I heard it's a lot of fun. I'd love to be able to spend the time to do that. And I'm fairly young, so I'm a long ways from being retired and having that kind of time. So we've got to
Well,
make.
see, that's the trick. Is I've heard of like guys will find a partner, somebody older maybe, or maybe, or whoever. They just don't. Some folks don't enjoy the trapping themselves, but they enjoy the fur, put up the fur and handling the fur. Now that would be the trick, to find a partner who would prefer to work in the shed and then just do the work on the road.
You
That would be
find
the
that
winning combination.
you find that guy, you let me know.
I will. Um, so, as I mentioned in the intro, you are the president for the Nevada Trappers Association,
Mhm.
and that's a recent thing. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, a few years ago, I think, it might have been 4 years ago, in around 2020, I started asking questions about how I could help, volunteer to do the rendezvous, stuff like that. And Joel, they let me put on a rendezvous, and then it seemed like it must have been just perfect timing for. I guess it wasn't really perfect for me because I got thrown into everything, but for someone it was perfect timing because I started showing that I wanted to be a part of things and helping, and then Joel was looking to kind of get out of the driver's seat and he wanted to focus more on the policy and lobbying side of things, the politics of it, and he wanted somebody to step in that he could help show the ropes to, and that would take initiative and keep things going. Because him and frankly most of the guys that are here in Nevada that have been doing that stuff for the last 40 years are getting up there, so they're kind of working on bringing some new people into the fold that can help carry the torch. And I think
That
I got
that
thrown
is an
into
important thing, right? That's an important thing right there because Joel is an incredible dude who does a tremendous amount of work.
it.
But I mean, let's be honest, Joel's no spring chicken.
Yep.
Sooner or later, Joel's not going to be able to do anymore, and I really do hope that we can find someone who he can mentor for a few years before he needs to step away, so we can continue that because Joel is instrumental to everything that we do as NVTA and
He
other
is.
organizations that we team with.
He is. He's been a key player in defending not just trapping, but everything that has to do with outdoor sporting, hunting, fishing in Nevada for around 40 years now. And yeah, it's going to be. I mean, I'm not. I can't even remember how old he is. How old he is right now, but it's nice. We have me, who I don't plan on going anywhere. You can't ever, predict the future, but
Yep.
our new vice president that we just got, Ron Stoker, he's going to be around for a while. He's awesome. I think the Trappers Association, we have a good group of directors that are all, they all really care about trapping. They all want to be a part of helping preserve and protect the trapping and our heritage. And I think the Trappers Association is set up really good, and that's in main part to Joel and Jim Curran and the main guys that have been doing this for forever. They've done a really good job on picking key players and helping get things set up and setting us up for success. And the last couple of years for me have been a whirlwind. I've gone to some events in Elko. I went to a readiness summit in Boise that the NTA put on. I went to like the Western on behalf of the Trappers Association in Rock Springs last year. I wasn't able to make it to Idaho this year, but I've been all over the place learning all kinds of stuff. I get probably 3 or 4 texts a week from Joel on updates on stuff and what's going on. And if I have something, questions or advice, I usually call either Joel or another guy down here, Mike Reese, one of Joel's really good buddies and my good buddy. And I just it's really nice to have guys like them around to help us, especially how I went from not even being a board member to the president in 2 or 3 years. There's a lot that I need to know, and it's nice to have guys that will pick up the phone and give advice to me.
Oh, absolutely. And you talked about that Trappers Readiness Summit
Mm-hmm.
that in Idaho, and we just had one here in Reno back in, was that April? Yeah, it was April.
May, the
May,
start of
was it
May.
May?
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I was lucky enough to be able to attend that, and
Mm-hmm.
I more in an observation mode. But man, that was an eye opener for what the state and national organizations do to preserve not only the trapping, but like you said, the hunting, the fishing, all the outdoor sportsmen's activities that
Mm-hmm.
I think I, just one example of I just never realized, um, like the Nevada guzzlers that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
I just assumed that those were taxpayer funded, endow in place, kept up by I just thought it was a government state run government thing, and to find out that those 2,200 plus guzzlers were done purely on by private individuals on their own time and that was staggering to me. I just didn't know it. So can you talk a little bit about the readiness seminar and then some of the topics that were brought up there?
So the Readiness Summit is something that the National Trappers Association kind of sponsors or puts on. That was one of the first things I went to in Boise. I was the vice president at the time, newly appointed vice president, and I went up there with Joel. He said this would be a good thing to learn, show you kind of what you're supposed to be doing, good ideas on things that you can do, and on what we do. And holy crap, in Boise, I was like,
Yeah.
I left Boise going, man, I am in over my head. These guys have been doing this a long time, and this is way more than I can comprehend. And I still feel that way a little bit, but after like the last year of going through some small events with um some legislation and stuff, and working with Joel on some of those things, I know I've got a long ways to go, but I'm starting to understand how those things work a lot better. It's not near as bad as I thought it was going to be when I was in Boise
You mean
this
as
year.
far as being time consuming,
Yeah,
or
it's a lot of time consuming, but as far as like, uh, I don't know how I want to word this. As far as like me being able to hold up, my end of the job, or what I should be doing, or what's expected of me.
how to be effective at your job?
Yes, I was really, after Boise, was kind of nervous. Like, man, I don't know if I'm the guy for this. This is a lot more in depth than I was expecting. And
You
after,
know,
go ahead.
I apologize for the interruption, but
Yeah,
we're going to get to the point about the summer rendezvous coming up. But I had the same, like, I don't know what I was thinking last year when I said, "Hey, I'll organize." At some point, I was like, "What? You're an idiot. You don't
yeah,
even know what you're doing."
yeah, yep.
So
That,
I understand that feeling.
but having, like I said earlier, Joel and Mike Reese and a couple other guys that talk to, and ask, hey, what do you think about this? You know, whatever it may be, and they give you what their opinion is, and then what possible things in the system and how the process works. And um it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was just overwhelming at first, and then we got a call. I can't remember when it was. It was probably last fall, but um they wanted us to host the readiness summit here in Nevada
Hmm.
for this year, for 2024. And I kind of took on, I was still the vice president. I took on the job of securing a place for us, and setting up who our speakers were going to be, and doing all that. And that was a process as well, by the way. That's not that's not easy.
Oh,
And Rusty in Idaho, when we went to Boise, he made it look easy. Rusty Kramer, their president, he made it look really easy. And I started getting into some of that stuff. I was like, holy crap. Well, again, another thing that no, I guess nothing is ever what it seems. But
true.
we got everything set up and got our speakers committed, and I feel like it was a good readiness summit. I learned a lot. We had some really good guys. Nevada has been, we have a couple of guys that have been around, like Larry Johnson, Mike Reese, Joel Blakesley, um, even Brian Burris, when he talked about fundraising and stuff. He I, I don't know how long Brian's been around. He's been around longer than I have in this stuff, but the Nevada, the guys that we were able to get there to speak knocked it out of the park. They were awesome. And there was a few of them that like Brian, he even got up and said, and Mike Reese, that they're not trappers. They don't trap. They
Hmm.
appreciate what trappers do, and they're here and they want to fight with us. And but they don't. That's not what they do. And
Well, on that point, what I took away from that was they view trappers as a canary in the coal mine for what
Mhm.
they love to do.
Yep.
Because the trappers, let's be honest, trapping is the easy stuff to get. It's the low hanging fruit for people to go after because the optic of it can be portrayed in such a negative light.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
when you start ticking away at trapping, or the other really good low hanging fruit is the large coyote calling contest.
Yep.
Once you lose those, once you start turning the tide of public opinion, then they start going after the other activities that everybody kind of assumes is safe, but
Yep.
it's not safe.
That's the thing we hear all the time is, oh, just give them this and they'll leave us alone. But they've been nitpicking since the 70s or earlier at us about stuff, and it's time that we dig in our heels and not another inch, because that's all it's going to be is, oh, you know uh compromise with us. But it's not a true compromise. It's they come and say, we want to take trapping for good, but if you compromise, then we'll only have 24-hour track checks or something. And that's not a compromise, because we're still giving up something and not getting anything in return.
Bingo. A
So
compromise means you and I both give up a little bit of something to meet in the middle. There is no meeting in the middle with the people who want to get rid of these activities. They just want you to give up.
exactly, they misuse that word compromise and try to make it look like they're helping us get rid of our own rights.
Yep.
But anyways, back to the readiness summit. Those guys that I was talking about that didn't trap, I was I knew that they would be good speakers, but I was a little worried that they wouldn't be able to tailor to the trapping crowd that we had, like the different states. I think we had 8 or 10 states represented.
We had
Um,
Oregon, Arizona, Idaho, Alaska, Ohio,
Tennessee,
Tennessee.
Wyoming.
Yeah, Wyoming. That's right.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if, and
Well, counting us, that'd be 8.
Minnesota, yeah, and the Utah and Montana guys planned on coming, but some stuff came up and they couldn't make it. But hopefully, I haven't talked to Andrew. He brought his podcast stuff down and got a lot of it on tape. Hopefully, it came out and turned out good, so we can get it out to those guys in those other states.
True.
But those guys that, like I was saying, I was worried they were going to be able to tailor it to the trapping type stuff. They knocked it out of the park. From talking to the other guys, like the guys from Oregon, they they loved Mike and Brian's, both of them. Mike is the master of analogies. He can put anything in perspective to somebody who has no idea what we're doing. The season ticket holder stuff he does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, he is the master at that stuff, and he was just like really jaw dropping for some of the other guys. It's like, man, how did I not think of that? Those are some good ways to put things into perspective for folks. And yeah, I think those guys were some of the favorite ones. Larry Johnson, he was the one that talked about the guzzlers and all the things that the Coalition for Nevada's Wildlife does. And um, I think it turned out pretty good. I think it turned
Yeah,
out really good.
it did. It was a privilege to be able to attend. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to come because to first, one of the things that I enjoyed the most was the NDOW representative. I don't want to throw his name out in public here, but the NDOW representative came and talked about how he manages the trapping season based upon the number of catches and takes last year, and how that
Mm-hmm.
correlates to that was an eye opener. But for me personally, what I realized was, man, I don't do anything. Like like these guys are dedicating significant amounts of time to
Mm-hmm.
maintaining what is, and I've really come to focus on this because I see it as fundamental to maintaining the lifestyle that we have
Mm-hmm.
is the culture of the outdoorsman, the North American outdoorsman, the trapper, and so forth. It is in my mind, it's a culture. It's something that a small, distinct subset of people, and in the case of the United States, But I think 125, 135,000 people trap every year.
Yeah,
To me,
it's
it's a
like
culture.
1% of the hunting
Yeah,
population or something.
yeah, absolutely. And it was phenomenal to see it, but it was humbling to realize just how little that I do to help maintain that.
And I mean, honestly, I think that's a problem that a lot of people don't understand is that you have guys out here that are putting in time and effort and lots of money into this stuff, into protecting our rights and everything. And then when a bill comes up or something, and we need butts in seats, or we need people at a commission meeting or to call in and testify to stuff, we can usually pick up a handful of people. It's nice to uh, to be
And
able to call in.
by handful, it's a handful.
Yeah,
It really is.
most of the time it is. There's 5 people that show up or something like that, and there'll be a dozen or 20 antis in there to testify as well. But these guys are so good at what they do, they don't. From visiting with Joel, he loves doing it. He loves the politics stuff. He loves getting in there, talking with people, fighting for what he believes in. Um, it's it's something that he would do no matter what. I'm sure he doesn't need your thank you. He doesn't need your praise. It's something that he's going to do because that's what he believes in. What I wish it got out word more into the hunting community, and that's what I'm going to try to work on doing. Is helping people realize that these guys have put so much time and effort into this. They don't need, I say we like I'm a part of it, but I'm working, I'm getting my feet wet anyways.
Right.
But they don't need 2,500 people doing the same thing they do. They just need to be able to count on us to show up to the meetings and to phone in and to write the emails in support and back them up when they need it.
Yep.
They'll do all the hard work. They just need us to do a little bit of legwork to help back them up.
I
And
agree.
I feel like
Does
we could do a
but
better job at that most of the time.
does Nevada have like a Trappers Hall of Fame or anything like that?
Yes, we do.
Is Joel a member?
If he ain't, that's a big sin that they've made. I'm sure he is. I
Amen, brother. We
I
we need to look at that because he needs to be he needs to be
don't.
one
I
of those
would.
guys.
I'd be willing to bet my paycheck that he is.
He
I
has
don't
to be.
have the list, but yeah, there is a Hall of Fame.
Awesome, awesome, good deal. Um, what is the most significant thing, in your opinion, as long as you've been part of the Nevada Trappers Association? What is the most significant thing that you feel like the NVTA has done for trappers and outdoorsmen since you started really being involved in it?
Well, I'll tell you the what I feel the most significant thing is for all time since the Trapper Association's been around. You're still trapping,
Absolutely.
aren't you?
Oh
Are
yeah.
you still trapping every year?
Still putting steel in the ground.
Yep. I know Joel has told me in 22 legislative sessions he's defended the 96-hour trap check 15 times.
Wow.
And that's just the base of the pyramid. They've had so much stuff come on, like you said, the low hanging fruit. It seems like every other year or every 4 years there's something that we've got to go to work on. And uh I mean, as long as you can go get back out there and set some traps next year, well, that's what we're here for. That's the whole reason the Trappers Association was formed.
Real quick before we get into talking a little bit about the coming summer rendezvous, can you
Mhm.
mention the other board members?
Yes, I had to look them up. I can't remember them all by name. So we have in our District 1, Elko County, Don Norda. District 2, Humboldt and Pershing is Dave Fecht. District 3, Leo Como. District 3 is Washoe.
Okay.
District 4, Churchill and Lander, is Steve Nelson.
Churchill and Lander?
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting combo. What about Lyon?
Lyon is Douglas, Carson, and Lyon counties. That's Carl Olmsted.
Okay.
Um, District 5, Eureka and White Pine, is Bobby Bradley. District 6, Nye, Esmeralda, and Mineral is it's not Charlie. He just we just brought in a new member. Charlie decided he was ready to be done, and we got a new guy from Tonopah, Sam Jeffries.
Okay.
Um, District 7, Nye and Clark, is Dave Stowater, and District
Mm-hmm.
8, Lincoln County, is Steve Bowman.
Okay. How often do you all meet?
We have one meeting, one director meeting a year, usually in June.
Okay.
We communicate through email through the rest of the year. If something pops up, Joel spreads the word to us, and we start reaching out to folks in our areas and trying to get a stir going. So we have backers. Excuse me. I didn't list our officers. So
Oh, go ahead.
we have vice president as Ron Stoker. Our secretary and treasurer is Suzanne Countryman. First cell manager is Jim Curran.
That's
And
a name right there too.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And then we also have an assistant first cell manager is Larry Curran, Jim's son.
Ah.
And policy director is Joel Blakesley. So
Okay, that makes sense. Do you see anything on the horizon over the next year or two that is a particular danger that you need to be focused on?
that is probably a better question for Joel. From what I do know, um, from I don't know of anything that will be trapping, which doesn't mean there won't be. But what I do know what is going on now, which doesn't, I guess, kind of directly affect the trappers, but it does in a way. We're really closely associated with them. Is the calling contests?
Yeah, I seen something recently about there's a big push again,
Mm-hmm.
another potential bill being submitted to the legislature.
Yep. And Joel has been paying close attention to that. I'll probably get a weekly update from him from now until that is over with. So he's keeping us updated on stuff. If it becomes something that we have to step in because it's going to affect us as trappers, then we will without hesitation. He's been watching the wording of how they want to word things. If it's going to affect us, it's hard for us as an association to jump in for against the calling contest and use up our resources on that unless it's going to directly affect us. We've been trying to get the callers to form an association. I think that is going to happen. Joel has reached out to help some individuals get one going. I hope it happens because it'll be really nice to have another association here that we can link arms with and become stronger, work together with.
Agreed. And that with that after the readiness summit in Reno, they had the Nevada Coalition for Wildlife
Mm-hmm.
banquet.
Yep.
Hopefully I got that right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was good to see so many people so interested and so willing to provide their time and honestly money to help keep things moving. It was especially when you go into a place like Washoe or Clark County. Let's be honest; those are the more
Mm-hmm.
liberal of Nevada's counties, probably
Yep.
the two liberal counties.
Yep.
But it was a great crowd with a ton of good stuff going on, and I wish I'd been able to stay longer. But how many people in one place stresses me out.
No, yeah. That is a great cause, probably one of the best causes that we could donate to here in Nevada because uh, I lost my train of thought there. Um,
Welcome to old
money,
age, friend.
yeah.
Welcome to old age.
Whether we like it or not, money's what makes the world go round. And
True.
A banquet, especially for an organization like the Coalition, is instrumental in us being able to keep fighting.
Absolutely.
A lot of money to stay in the game.
Absolutely. So the next thing I want to talk a little bit about is the summer rendezvous. Um, Last year, I alluded to this earlier. Last year we did it up in the Rubies on the east side of the Rubies, which was the other one that I'd gone to previous was in Lamoille Canyon, outside of Spring Creek, and that the Rubies are just magical. I don't know. It's hard to compete with the Rubies. Um, but we did it on the east side, and I don't know what possessed me, but I asked. I said, "So who's doing this for next year?" And there was something in his tone or something in the look on his face was probably what I got from that was, well, probably me. And he clearly was tired. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, man, I said, you know what? Let me see what I can do for the rendezvous next year. And then I was like, what did I just do? That was stupid because I don't even know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm terrified that this thing isn't going to go well. But for the 2024 Summer Rendezvous for the Nevada Trappers Association, we're going to hold it at the Walker River State Park, just south of Yerington, Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think it's a great location for a couple reasons. One, it's Nevada's newest state park, which is cool. It's in a beautiful area right there on the Walker River, kind of near the what's that big ranch that used to be down there? Um, Senility. Anyways, they donated huge tracts of land in Nevada, the state of Nevada, and they turned it into a state park, just about 15, 20 miles south of Yerington. So it's close enough to civilization to
Mm-hmm.
where it's not too difficult to get in and out. You're still isolated. You're still in this beautiful location right there along the river. But if you forget something, or let's be honest, if somebody managed to hurt themselves, they're not too far from help, um, which is good. Or if you forgot to bring briquettes for the barbecue or beer or whatever, it's an easy run into Yerington. So I was able to coordinate with the state parks to allow us to come in there. The dates, just so I'm saying it out front before I forget about it. Really, the event is going to happen on 3 August. It'll be an all day event. Of course, I've that it opens up for us on the 2nd, and then it closes for us on the 4th as far as coming in and coming out. Um, and as far as the costs of the actual facility are covered by the Trappers Association. Um, and that's been honestly one of the points that has stressed me out the most is because I still don't know how many people are coming. I got an idea, but I'm not quite sure. So it's really hard to calculate costs when you don't really know how many people are going to show up. You don't really know how many people are going to. Are they staying in a tent? Are they going to stay in an RV? What are they doing? Right? Because those change
Mm-hmm.
the cost a little bit.
Yep.
But um, it will be well within budget. I'm completely confident. The only thing I ask, and I've been trying to post this in as many venues as possible to try to generate some interest. The only thing I really ask is if people do decide to come, that just let me know that they're coming, how many people are coming, and then if they're going to be staying in a tent or in an RV. That way, one, it gives us an idea for cost, and two, it allows me to work with the event staff, the state park staff, to kind of put people in a co-located area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. People can go do whatever they want. If they want to go camping, I don't care. That's up to them. When we did Lamoille Canyon, for example, I walked half a mile up the canyon and near a beaver pond and threw my tent out there just because it's kind of away from everybody. Plus, it's Lamoille Canyon, right? I mean, who
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't want to camp out of Lamoille Canyon?
Yeah.
Um, let's see, what else can we talk about with the rendezvous? Um, I guess. How would you describe the purpose of the summer rendezvous? What's the purpose of showing up there on the second, third, and fourth?
Well, for me, honestly, I like coming to for the camaraderie, hanging out with people, visiting with people that you usually probably won't see except for at the rendezvous or at the first sale. Um, there's lots of great demos. Especially if you're just getting into trapping, the guys there that are going to be giving demos, especially this year too, are
Mhm.
really killer trappers. They know what they're doing. They've been around. There's guys that catch 100 cats a year that are coming to talk. There's guys that catch 100 animals and 30 of them are cats, and they're coming to give demos. And if especially if you're looking to learn how to trap, this is the place to come to. You come, it's free. You come stay for the weekend, watch some demos, hang out with some people. We'll have some good food there, a little potluck going. There'll be a raffle and some prizes that we have there for people. It's a lot of fun. I think right there on the river we'll be able to go fishing and just hang out. That's all it is just kind of hang out, learn a few tips and tricks. Honestly, the demos are awesome and they're great, but you get done with the demos and you're in like a little transfer time onto the next demo, and you sit here and listen to some of those old timers that have been around here for 40 years trapping. They get to telling some stories you can really learn. It's not just the demos you learn from. So just being in the presence of some of the guys that come to these every year, really the amount of knowledge that can be shared if you're willing to
Yeah.
visit with folks is
Agreed. And you talked about the camaraderie, and that really goes to the culture that I talked about a little bit earlier. Um, it it's just a unique group of people who share a unique passion,
mm-hmm.
and man, there's a lot of knowledge running around there. And like you said, the demos will be awesome. We will potentially have a couple folks, vendors type folks, selling their stuff, which we
Mm-hmm.
normally have. Um, Still looking for more, obviously. I think the demos we probably the only thing that we really don't have covered that I would love to see is, and I don't know if it's even feasible for that type of venue, but I'd love to know more about gland preparation, gland harvesting and preparation for baits and lures. So if there's anybody listening who does that and understands it and is can throw it together in a half an hour, 45-minute little presentation, I'd love to hear from you because that's just it's a fascinating concept to me. Um, uh, so yeah, coming in on the second,
Mm-hmm.
events start on the third. Probably start about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Go throughout the day, break for lunch, come back for some more demonstrations. There's a nice little area set up there, uh, right next to the facility where we'll be able to have demonstrations right there. And of course, the river's right there. So if somebody wants to do, let's say, beaver sets or something, it's an easy walk down to the river to show a beaver set. Um, and then you mentioned and hey, potluck. Gotta love the potluck, and the food's good, and that's one of my favorite parts. And then normally we generally have round table, for lack of a better term, for
Mm-hmm.
folks like Joel, Dave out of Clark County. You know,
Mm-hmm.
those old guys, those old timers running around to just sit and talk about policy, sit and talk about whatever it is we want to talk about. It's a really unique opportunity to pick people's brain,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the things I enjoyed most about the rendezvous that I've been to.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Let's see here. So we talked about the state organization. We talked about the rendezvous. Like I said, I just want to throw that out one more time. If people do want to come, I just ask, reach out to me. Let me know who you are, how many folks, and your what you're using to stay. If you're staying in a tent, you bring an RV or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
that way we can just kind of plan to put people in places that make sense. Um, Hopefully, it's not going to be screaming hot like it is right now.
Yeah.
Uh, but obviously, we need to prepare a little bit for that. Um, and then I guess as we kind of close this out, the last thing I wanted to cover was just generally speaking about the podcast itself. This is the premier podcast for Nevada Trappers Association. Um, Planning on doing a monthly one. This one obviously is kind of an intro plus a little advertisement for the rendezvous. The one in August, we'll do it after the rendezvous. So at that point, we'll have an opportunity to talk about what do we do, what do we see, those type of things. And then in the future, for me, I'd like to get folks like Joel Blakesley, Dave Stillwater on the call to talk about legislation coming up. I forget is Nevada legislature in this year or is it next year?
I think it is next. I think it's 2024, the spring of 2025. I think.
Okay, yeah. So the legislation will be key too as we start to get into that biannual legislative session. And then as we get into the wintertime, I mean, I'm open to possibilities. So I guess what I'm trying to say here
Mhm.
is if anybody's listening to this and they have ideas of what would they like to hear, what would they like to see, email me, drop me an email, let me know what you want to do. It's Scabina. I think you can see the name down there in the lower left hand corner, Scabina at gmail.com. Super simple. Comes in early with a name like mine, so it wasn't hard. And of course, you can reach out to the Trappers organization as well
Mhm.
with any ideas. Um, did you have any closing thoughts? And as you kind of frame what you want to say here, also if you can kind of speak to how do people learn more about the Nevada Trappers Association? Where do they go? Where do they find information? And who do they talk to?
All right. Yeah. I do have one plug I want to throw in.
Yep.
The weekend before the rendezvous, we also are helping organize a youth outdoor event at Illapah Reservoir. It's like 30 minutes west of Ely, I believe, right
Okay.
around 30 minutes west of Ely on Highway 50. There will be, hey, get out of here. Sorry, dogs.
No worries.
Um, there will be all kinds of stuff going on. It's tailored to youth. Go on, go on. It's tailored to the youth. We're gonna have some folks there from Endow talk about hunting and fishing and different stuff, and we'll have like a little 22 range, an archery range. We'll have archery demos and rifle safety and ethics. We'll have an ethics talk. There'll be some trapping demos. It'll be everything. We banded together with a whole bunch of groups. Let me bring up my phone so I don't forget anyone. Of course, we have us, the Trappers Association, Muley Fanatics, Meadow Valley Wildlife Unlimited, Wildlife Habitat Improvement in Nevada, Las Vegas Woods and Waters, Las Vegas chapter of SCI, Bass Pro Shops, and the Nevada Department of Wildlife. It'll be a great thing. We do ask that you RSVP because we're buying a lot of food to feed through the weekend for everyone. But yeah, it'll be great. And if you guys want any information on the rendezvous or the Youth Outdoor Expo, it will be, you can look it up. The fastest way for everyone mostly will probably be on our Facebook page, the Nevada
Mm-hmm.
Trappers Association Facebook page. We have a website. You can go look at nvtrappers.org. You can sign up as a member there. You can look at the history of the Trappers Association. We have it there, how to contact all of our district directors. So if you're in a certain area and you have some questions or some issues that you'd like brought forth, you can look up whoever's in your area and contact them. Um, but yeah, I think most of our information, um, I will be posting to our Facebook page, and then our website director who does our website usually pulls it from the Facebook page, and we'll put the updated flyers and stuff on the website as well. So either one of those is fine.
Very cool. And it did occur to me, um, you don't have to be from Nevada to go to the summer rendezvous.
No.
That's one thing I've been trying to get out there is if you're in Arizona, you're in Utah, you're in Oregon, I don't care. Yeah,
Yep.
we need to build that community, and nothing builds a community faster than breaking bread together and spending a day uh, talking about trapping.
Hundred
Um,
percent. 100%. I think last year we had some guy from like north 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 Carolina or something at their in the
really?
room. Yeah.
Oh, I
So
missed that.
he
Totally
was
cool.
some family in Elko or wherever here in Nevada, and they came out to it. So that's
Huh.
pretty cool. So hopefully we can pull some people from other states and make some friends.
Yep. No, absolutely. Nothing we do can be done in a vacuum.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Unfortunately, the people who don't appreciate what we do or are opposed to it are certainly working together in
Mm-hmm.
large scale, much larger than we could ever put together, to be quite honest,
Mm-hmm.
to put an end to what we do. So we need to learn to work together. I think, trappers in general tend to be more so than even hunters, I think, tend to be more solo individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But in this day and age, we can't do that. We gotta work together. We gotta talk to each other.
Yep.
And
Times where you're gonna have to step out of your
Yep,
comfort zone. And
absolutely.
yep.
Um, I guess in closing, Neil, well, number one, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. I appreciate everything that the Nevada Trappers Association does for me. I'm still putting steel in the ground, so I know you guys are working hard, and I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to put together this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I think my imagination is limited, so I'm always seeking ideas for what I can do with it. So if there's anybody out there listening who has a little bit of knowledge about podcasting and looks at this and goes, it's okay, but it could be better. I'm humble. Call me. Call me, email me. I don't care. I'll learn from anybody. But I do appreciate the opportunity to help put this together, and I appreciate the chance to talk to you today. And I look forward to seeing everybody out there and at the rendezvous come August.
No, thank you, Daryl, for stepping up and taking care of this stuff and wanting to be helpful with things.
God, I hope it's not a complete failure.
Oh
I
no,
really do.
the
All
only
right, Neil.
give up.
I'll let you go. I'm gonna hit stop on this. We came in at about 52 minutes, which is about where I wanted to be. So uh, that'll work out well. And just for the future, we'll get this posted to the Facebook page. We'll get it posted. I'll get it posted wherever I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then plan on another episode mid mid to late August. The summer season is just crazy. There's just so much going on right now, which reminds me, I still need to go download those tax forms for raffle stuff. I need to start hitting the pavement to see who I can get to donate. But again, thank you, Neil. I appreciate talking to you today, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Likewise, thank you.
Awesome.